Hi, and thanks for joining me on my channel that's dedicated to living in the Tri-Cities, Washington. So, you're thinking about moving to the Tri-Cities. Now, if you're interested in exploring the different places to live, the different types of living arrangements you can come into, recreation, opportunities, discussing our history and our culture, all of the above, please subscribe to my channel below and stay abreast of my new videos as they come out. As I said, this channel is dedicated to living in the Tri-Cities, Washington, and I will be going through a host of videos that will be discussing various aspects of living here and enjoying life in the Tri-Cities. My name's Kayla Corbin. I'm with eXp Realty, and I'm really excited to share this experience with you. So for today's video, what I'm going to do is discuss the pros and cons of living in a golf course community. This is just going to be a very in general, and the reason that I'm going to start with this kind of like pros and cons of living on a golf course is for this reason. The Tri-Cities, our golf courses are open mostly year-round. They might close when we do have inclement weather, which is not very often. Well, you're always going to have your fair weather golfers. I'm probably one of those people. But you'll have those that'll bundle up and get out there in any sort of weather and any sort of temperature, because we don't have a lot of snow in the Tri-Cities. So this is just a pros and cons header into that. Then we will delve into the 11 golf courses that we have in the Tri-Cities. 2 of those being simulator, not exciting. Well, maybe if you don't really like to do the physical work of it, but you like to work this muscle, yeah, it could work for you. But we also have 9 golf courses, 4 of which are living communities. So let's just start talking about it now. So one thing I'm realizing as I try to pull together pros and cons of living in the Tri-Cities, or living anywhere for that matter, is that it's all relative to what's important to you. But I've had the opportunity to live around the country, and I have purchased or selected the communities that I wanted to live in. Now, I never did that without my own due diligence and go visit there, maybe go down to a local eating establishment and enjoy the people, just determine whether or not I would fit in that locale or within that community. And so I did do my due diligence, but oftentimes I get there and I'm in my little dwelling that I have selected, and I realize, shoot, and I don't know if it's the grass is the greener aspect of this, but I'll realize I should have done that community over there, and here's why. And then I'm able to further understand what was better for me about that community. Again, a lot of factors to be considered. So in the example that I'm using, one of them was the availability to entertainment and nightlife. Was it more or less than the community I was living in? Walkability was important to me there when I lived in this little town as well, and as well as other factors. But fitting in, that's always important. How many people are more local and how many people are more tourists? This was a touristy area. But I digress. I'm talking about myself and my experiences, but what I want to point out is that I am well aware that it is up to the perspective of the individual. So I'm going to try to keep my opinion out of it and look at it through the eyes of others, and maybe sometimes sprinkle a little bit of how I see it personally. So again, thanks for joining my channel, and please remember to follow the channel and keep abreast of what we are discussing here. So, and also, comments are always helpful. If there's a topic or a location or some concern that you'd like to share with me, or question even, either contact me directly from my contact information below, or leave a comment, and then we can all address it, those that are following this channel. So now to get to the golf course. All right, let's talk about what would drive one to want to live in a golf course community. I think that's a perfect place to start in a pros and cons video of living in a golf course community. So we would presume that the reason that you want to live in this golf course community is because you love to golf and you love the close proximity of the golf course to your home. Maybe even the fact that you can just jump in your golf cart that's parked in your little golf cart garage space and drive right down to the golf course. I perhaps like that sort of accessibility as well. But that's our first presumption of why you would want to live in a golf course community, is because you love to golf. Another thing too is maybe you like the exclusivity of it. Typically, golf course communities will have a private club. Although their memberships will extend to those outside of the actual housing community there's a number of them. In fact, one of our most popular golf courses here in the Tri-City area, which is Canyon Lakes, has over 20 different membership styles. So that is going to be from all the way from full golf constantly to just the social interaction, and include people that live within the community, the HOA, and those that don't. So like I said, we won't go into detail. You can call Canyon Lakes if you want to know more about that, or contact me if you'd like to live in the Canyon Lakes area or any of our other golf course communities, and we will find out all those details that are important to you before you ever make your purchase or even decide to look in that area. So let's continue on. Speaking of buying a home in a golf course community, those homes in that area tend to have higher value. They're a little bit more expensive, but they also maintain their value. So they can be a really good investment for somebody who wants to live in the Tri-Cities on a golf course, and to enjoy their home and enjoy their community and their friends and their network and their recreational activities that are available to them. So that's a plus to it. But then again, on the other side, if you can't afford to live there, then you still have options, because I don't like to look at just everything being negative. There's a solution to everything. It's just a little hurdle. If you've ever run track, you learn how to actually negotiate those hurdles. Sometimes people run around them, or sometimes you learn how to drive the form that gets you over the hurdle. So let's see. We talked about the exclusivity and all the amenities that included with that. You know, with that said, when you have that private membership and the exclusivity that goes with it, it also comes with HOA dues. And you also have CCRs that can be very restrictive. Like, for instance, perhaps you can't have a fence, or if you do have a fence, it has to be of a particular material and only of a certain height. Now, I'm making up examples, but there are going to be restrictions. Say, for some people, they aren't that strict because they're happy to abide by them so that their neighbors have to abide by them too. But then again, you also have those that are like, sometimes I kind of go in the gray, but where people are like, I don't want to live by those rules. That's just stupid. If that's how you feel about it, then I would highly recommend against choosing a community that does have strict HOA regulations. Okay, so make those decisions ahead of time. Don't get caught in the backlash of, oh my gosh, I can't believe I bought into this. That's just not, that's not what we want to do. So another aspect of the golf course, typically, especially if you live on the course. Now let's step it back a minute. So we're buying a house in a golf course community. Do we want to be right on the golf course? And then there's a selection of where on the golf course do you want to be. Typically, when you're on a tee block, you're not going to get as many windows broke or on a hole, but on the fairway, you stand quite a chance of having golf balls fall into your yard, which can cause damage. Now, the damage can happen from the golf ball itself, obviously. Have you ever had a broken window? I used to live on a golf course. It's actually an old pig farm up in North Idaho, but so much fun. But we have had broken windows, and they come from, like, Lord knows. How somebody clear over there went all the way around our house and got a window in the front of the house. No one knows. But it happened. Another thing that might be of concern is maybe it's not a window that's broken, but property damage can come from golfers that are coming up into your yard to retrieve that golf ball. And they might like rummage through your freshly dug out and built up flower bed or anything of that nature. They may just be trespassing, which you're not comfortable with. And so those are just considerations. Can you tolerate that? And that's definitely a decision that you want to make. Actually, a couple years ago, I was standing on a golf course in the backyard with a family that was considering purchasing in this golf course community. And he turns around and he looks at me and he says, "Do they ever have golf ball issues?" And I says, "Well, I don't know that. They didn't comment. Let me find out for you." And seriously, I did not even finish this sentence and a golf ball landed about 2 feet from him. Thank God it didn't hit him, but it landed about 2 feet from him. So we asked the owners, and they're like, "No, we never have problems with golf balls. We've never had a golf ball hit our house yet in the 10 years that we've lived here." And so it's like, well, that's great. So they bought the house, and what the first thing they did? They tore out all the vegetation that was there, protecting them, their home, and their backyard from the golf course. So when they tore that vegetation out, all those brushes, all the grass, whatever thing was in there, they found hundreds of golf balls. So they laugh now because they realize that the owners at the time answered honestly, no, they never had a problem with it, but there was a reason. And we just didn't investigate that part because we hadn't thought of it. So you can either live right on the golf course, as mentioned earlier. Now you can live more into the interior of the golf course community. And a lot of times there's going to be pathways that get you down to the golf course. So that's where you still have cart access from the neighborhood and your location to the golf course, even though you're not directly on the golf course. Now, a lot of people will prefer that. If you have small children or pets that you have in the backyard a lot, there's a concern there. Would you want your children playing in the backyard where there's a quite likely possibility of a golf ball inadvertently coming into your yard and striking one of your children or your pet? So with that consideration, you might choose not to want to live on that golf course. So the interior should typically be safe. Obviously, where in the interior? I presume that I'm talking mostly to people who golf or have a familiarity with it. Then you have even further into the golf course community itself, the housing community, and you're safe there. But you may not have access to trails that you can get on with your golf cart that take you there. Something to investigate when you're looking to buy a house in a golf course community, when you back it up into why living in that golf course community is important to you. So lots of factors that all have to culminate together to help you in deciding where you want to purchase your home. So I would like to point out that in the Tri-Cities, our golf course communities, as many, they have their hills and whatnot, and that's part of the course itself. But we also have a lot of hills in the Tri-Cities. So we have housing developments, and I'm going to show you these. We're going to go through these communities. I'm actually going to show you the homes and the scene there, or the views that you get from these homes. But we're going to go up the hill because there's hills that go up, and the homes have been built up on the hill. So a couple of places are called the Heights, and they're kind of at the top of the hill that overlook the golf course, and also the whole Tri-City community. So lots of different options. We'll delve into that as we go through the golf courses. So with the green space, one thing to be considerate of is that requires a lot of maintenance. And with maintenance comes the use of chemicals, pesticides, and herbicides. So if you have any sensitivities to that in any fashion, then that is definitely something to take into consideration about living within a golf course community and your relativity to the actual greens and the golf course itself. Another important aspect is the social, the networking. We all typically strive to live amongst people that with like-minded interests. So people looking to be around like-minded people in a golf course community are those that are looking for the sport itself and the social activities that come with it. So if you belong to the clubhouse, in whatever membership capacity it might be, then you also have that socialing network. And typically a clubhouse is going to have at least one type of food, dining, drinking establishment where people can gather and enjoy each other's company, shoot the bull for the day, talk about their last round of golf, all of those details. So those can be a great benefit to that. Now on the downside is if you do live on the golf course and you kind of like to do your own little thing and maybe more quiet, sometimes golf courses can get a little bit loud and busy, especially during tournaments or maybe it's a particular men's night or ladies night, depending on the ladies or the men of the group. So who knows? But all in all, living in a golf course community is really a very good option if you are interested or amenable to any of those types of activities. As mentioned earlier, the further you live away from the golf course, in spite of still being within the golf course community, you kind of can then start to pick and choose to what level of social networking and golfy golf that you want to be involved with, but still have the security of knowing you bought a home of good value in a good value neighborhood that will retain its value. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please leave me a comment in the description below, and join me for more. Don't forget to subscribe below in my description, or contact me directly if you're looking to move here in the next few months or in the next year. I am so happy to help you hone in onto where you would like to live. I hope this perspective has been helpful, and I look forward to you in the next video.